something you never done seen. Swaggy but still an MC. My guilty conscience, that bitch just keep on talking. Say you're not touching the thing, you ass boys. Probably gonna sing for the moment. Fuck the police when it's me and my team. Pussy that's bad means give a life word to the 313.
What is going on, guys? This is Platinum Point, and I'm here to bring you guys yet again another Weiss Schwarz deck profile. This time it's going to be on my newly revised 8 standby data live set for the post set 2 release. So as of recording this video, this set just came out about 2 days ago. I'm recording this on Sunday. This set came out on Friday, and I am excited to bring you guys this deck because I've been just been researching Data Live for quite some time after this deck got hit on the ban list, as well as since the last time you saw me kind of tinkering around with the deck, which it was a choice standby variant. So the reason why I pivoted back into 8 standby is because the second set gives us some really nice characters that allow us to kind of revisit the idea of doing 8 standby, but in a different way. Because back then with 8 standby, your goal was to be as defensive as possible in order to kind of just not only wall out your opponent, but try to get as much cancels as possible to stay in the game. But now with the release of set 2, we go from a defensive strategy to a more offensive strategy, and that's mainly because the ban list did do a number on us, and we are kind of forced to play different tools in order to help us overall succeed. So I am looking at tinkering around with ratios to see what works and what doesn't work, because I do feel like this deck is still in the drafting phase, since I haven't been playing this deck for maybe about 6 to 8 months, and I'm a little rusty with it. Like, I played it recently and I didn't do that well, and it shows that, holy crap, even though I play 8 standby Quints pretty frequently, the play styles are similar but different at the same time. The goals are very different, and so being able to kind of just it's gonna take me a while to kind of de-rust, and hopefully I can bring some matches with you guys showing my grind with this, because I do think that this deck is near full power. The only problem with it not being completely full power is the 3/2 Kermis at 2, which I kind of hope Bushiroad does start thinking about it, like putting it back, because I know they're not going to for a while, but like, we're getting a lot more power creep in the game, and I feel like having this deck have very subpar finishers really is not good for this set if you want to pump out sales. But overall, that's just my personal opinion. I still think the deck is fine with the 2 Kermi, but I do wish, like, at least put it to 3, but we'll see. Not like they watch the perspective of other DAO players, but it's fine. Just kidding. Overall, I do like this deck. It feels very much like old DAO, except a very more aggressive variant. So like, the goal of this deck is it functions very similar to 8 standby Mushoku Tensei, in which you are trying to eke out advantage like as much as you can while you are just aggroing down your opponent. The only difference with this and Mushoku is that this set doesn't have a plussing 1 step for standby, so that's the kind of only main difference, as well as the finishers at 4, but again, that's fine. So without me, that's pretty much enough of me rambling. So please make sure to subscribe if you are watching this video, because I noticed a lot of you guys who are watching this aren't subscribed, and please subscribe, because it always helps me and it's always a good encouragement to continue producing videos. So without further ado, let's get on to the deck profile, starting off with the level zeros. So we're playing 4 copies of the Confrontation with Humans Toka. So this is basically definitively the best level 0 in Dal, because this allows you to sculpt for deck thin for 2 cards. The first ability is when it comes into play, you can reveal the top card of your deck. If it's a Date or Celestial Spirit character, add it to your hand. Then discard a Date or Celestial Spirit character from your hand to the waiting room and draw a card. So this allows you to sculpt your triggers, your standby targets from your hand, and allow you to hand fix. So this is automatically a mandatory 4 of still. So we play 4 copies of that. Next we play 4 copies of Nightmare or Queen Kurumi. So this is your Riki of the deck. So when it comes into play, you can put a Date or Celestial Spirit character from your waiting room to the bottom of your clock and then search your deck for a level 1 or lower card. So this helps you level up when you are at level... You basically use this to help you level up at level 0, and also to search your standby targets. Your level 1 standby, your level 0 standby targets to discard off if you need to, or any other utility level 0s that you need at the moment. So mainly you're using this to dig for this card, your Brainstorm, or even the Kotori 1-0. So this is just here to dig for your utility cards. So you run it as a 4 of. Not only for that, it's just for it's a good yellow to level. Next, we play 3 copies for the Sky and Sword Toka. So this is our choice from the ban list, but since we're not running a lot of blue, I feel like you don't need to run. You don't need to max out on this card, because this card is only here for not only the pay to search Brainstorm, but also just for the bounce effect. Most of the time, you only need maybe 1 in your hand at constant. So I feel like 3 is fine, because you don't want to, like me personally, I like to keep my colors very balanced somewhat. I know not all colors are going to be evenly distributed, but like my main colors are red, yellow, and green, and I don't want to throw off that composition where I am forced to like clock awkwardly. So like my goal is to kind of streamline my plays in terms of colors, so I can focus on getting the answers that I need that turn or the turn ahead. So I'm always trying to make sure that when I'm playing in the moment, it always advances me towards my advances me 2 or 3 turns down the road. And just making sure that your colors are just like easy to map out is why I played at 3. But this is just the best Brainstorm overall, because it gives plus 1000 when you play Climax by bouncing it, and you give that character plus 1000 until the end of your opponent's turn. So this helps you create good offensive and defensive lanes pretty easy. So we play it as a 3 of. Let me move all that down 1 so I can have space. Next we play 3 copies of the Decisive Moments origami. So this is the drop salvage origami from the current set volume 2. So when it comes into play, it has 2 auto effects. The first one is pay 1, discard 1, salvage plus, and give a character plus 1000. And the other ability is you can check the top card of your deck. If it's level 2 or higher, put that revealed card into your stock. So this helps you stock charge as well as salvage what you need. So we play it as a 3 of, because you don't need that many discard fodder. Next, we play 2 copies of the Shido Itsuka. So the reason why we're still playing it here is because it is not only an on-play blink, which turns off any cross-turn powers or any cross-turn effects, but it is a free +1. I meant free mill 4, and I have been thinking about, because I like that this is not on the ban list, I've been thinking about finding a way to fit in my little Shido in order to profit off of this really nicely, since all you have to do is tap a character and then you can just continuously mill 4. But so far in my testing, it hasn't come up. I'm also thinking about playing the level 0 Amagi from set 2 that we get, but I'm still kind of just testing out like ratios, because I do feel like this card is good, because being able to turn off defensive climax combos, as well as decks that take advantage of markers like slime, or even any kind of cross turn effects, is actually very needed, because one thing that this deck does tend to have a hard time against is defensive decks. So this being able to turn off any defensive effects that happen cross turn is just nice. Lastly, we play 2 copies of the Happy Incoming Message Origami. So this is your climax swap of the deck. I know we have the yellow one from Data Bullet, but since I wanted to play more green, I wanted to have more opportunities to play green in the deck, since we're playing basic realizer. I decided to put this in, and so far it's been doing fine. And since we don't have a way to search out the climax other than this Toka, this is basically our main way of getting to our climaxes if we draw the wrong one. Now onto the level 1s. We play 4 copies of the Great Interest Kurumi. This one's from the Shop Challenge promo. I'm trying to get a playset so I can have the same art. So this is your basic level 1 standby target. So this is a 1175 with hand-on core. Next, we play 2 copies of the Mysterious Hot Pot Party Kotori. So this replaces the Toka 1-0 from set 1, because so what she does is she's a 500 front, and she has an active ability where you could tap this card, choose a character, and give it an additional 500, so it can be 1,000 pump for one character in front. But what makes this good is not only does this have a soul trigger, if you notice, but it has an ability where during your battle phase, when your characters trigger check a card with a soul trigger icon, you can choose one character and give it plus 2,000 until the end of the turn. So what makes this really good is, so our goal in the deck is to basically trigger as many soul triggers to push for damage, and you taking advantage of this Kotori to give free plus power, because if you do twin drive checks and you check 2 soul triggers, you get to give plus 4k to any of your characters, or split plus 2k to any of your characters. So this helps you break boards as well as sculpt for triggers to push for damage. So this card replaces Toka in a sense that this is your offensive pump to help you break lanes. And we're only running 6 level 1s because we're trying to take advantage of the fact that we want to run more soul triggers, and since we're playing standby, we want more numbers of your standby targets spread throughout the levels. So we're running 6, and I think in this deck we're running about 25 soul triggers. So about 50% of the deck is soul triggers, which includes the 8 standby. So overall, I like this 1-0. I'm still kind of getting used to the aggressive style of Data Life because I'm so used to playing defense, and I feel like this card is just a great addition, a great substitute from the 1-0 Toka that we lost. Continuing on, we play 2 copies of the Swimsuit Kurumi. So this is our free fresh backup. We're still playing 2 copies because we need some kind of panic button just in case we are in an awkward deck state and we have a large number of climaxes in the waiting room. So being able to just refresh your deck at crucial points in order to increase the chances of canceling and not dying or leveling up too quickly is important, so we play it as a 2 of. Next we play 4 copies of the Seductive Invitation Kurumi. So this is the new 2/2 that we get in set 2. So when continuous, she gains plus 1000 for each of your other date or celestial spirit characters. So she is a 9/5 on full board, which is less than the other date or celestial spirit characters, but she does have the ability you pay 1 twin drive check. So this pairs with the Kotori very well, where you are going to just be trigger checking soul triggers and trying to thin your deck out for either cleaning out your stock of standbys or trying to trigger standbys to reset your board after crashing in lanes. So being able to just aggressively push in for more damage is really nice, and I'm thinking of testing out a ratio of playing the set 1 2/2 Kurumi, because that one's will allow me to have some kind of defensive power instead of just full boarding through this. But overall, I'm still kind of just testing the waters with the deck, because overall I feel like just being aggro is the main strategy right now, and I think that's what we need to do moving forward. So moving on to the level 3s, I play 1 copy of the trial deck Toka finisher. So since we lost the Kurumi finisher, we needed to supplement our finishing power with non-climax combo finishers, and this is one that I'm still testing, because it does have the nice on-play ability. When it comes into play, your all players cannot. It gains 4/5, and the ability all players cannot play backups in battle involving this card. So this allows me to prevent memory kick counters or any kind of backups my opponent might play to try to reverse this. So this will allow me to guarantee kill a lane, and it also has the on reverse pay to burn 1. So this is just a soft finisher that I like to run. Another one I'm running is from the second set, which is Inverse Princess Toka. So when she comes into play, I could check up to the top 3 cards. No, not up to. Yeah, I can look at up to the top 3 cards on my deck. You're gonna look up to all 3 and then rearrange them in any order, and then choose a character from your opponent's stage and bounce it. So we're going to be using this to sculpt our triggers, as well as to get rid of a problematic character on board. And it also has a finishing ability, which is pay 1, choose a date or celestial spirit character from your waiting room and put it to the bottom of your clock. Your opponent mills the bottom 4 cards of their deck, and they burn 1 for each climax revealed. So this is your Icy Tail for 4. So I know that set 1 has a Kurumi Icy Tail for 5, which I'm still running, but this is just an additional Icy Tail that allows me also, that's cheaper in cost, but at the same time allowing me to sculpt my triggers and bounce another character, which is kind of necessary as the power creep is kind of getting more and more prevalent in terms of board staying power or any effects that kind of try to deny reverses. So being able to just bounce a lane to give you a free lane to attack is just nice. Next, we play 2 copies of the backliner 2K assist Kurumi. I'm not Kurumi, Kotori. So in some games I have been tempted to hold one just to play, give plus 1001 soul, but so far I haven't. I still like that play, and I think this is just a mandatory 2 of no matter what, even if you're not going to use the on play ability. But I just love it. It's a really good card. And plus it's a 2K assist. What more can you ask? Next, I play 2 copies of the Dignified Appearance Toka. I know that set 2 gave us an early play. Let me pull it out from my piles. Gave us an early play in the form of... Sorry, trying to find it. Silly me. This gave us this early play, which has the same requirements as the Toka, and it has the ability discard 2 when this is placed on the stage and all your characters are date or celestial spirit characters. You may pay cost. If you do, perform the following effects 1 time in each order. So if you discard 2, you can basically perform both of the effects. If you do not pay cost, you can only choose one of the effects. So like this is like a win more card, and I am thinking about playing it, but in my like I kind of like this Toka one because it's an SP, and I like to play I like to play the SPs in the deck, and Toka is my favorite character. So part of it is is just my own preference in characters, and 2, I do not like having to discard 2 in order to perform 2 really good effects. If it was a resonate effect, I would be fine, but the fact that in order to like get full value off of the effect, you have to discard 2 is kind of a no-no for me. But I am thinking about playing it. I'm still testing out kind of ratios because I am just tweaking around kind of just how this deck looks. So in the future I may creep this in, but right now I'm just currently testing the early play Tokas, just because I like, 1, I like her, and 2, she's also an on play heal. So that's just my own personal preference. Continuing on, we play 2 copies of the Kurumi Tokisaki. So it's an on play heal and gains the ability on when it reverses an opponent's character by battle, memory kick it. But it's also the Icy Tail for 5, which is pay 3, discard 1. So instead of Icy Tailing, milling the bottom 4, you're milling the bottom 5, which allows you to just have 1 more chance of hitting another climax. And honestly, in my testing, I am thinking about just getting rid of this Toka. But right now, the bounce, I'm testing the bounce to see if it's relevant in our current meta and post Sword Art Online 10th anniversary, because that is going to be likely the boogeyman of the game. And right now I'm just kind of just testing out ratios, and I'm also trying to practice like just being prepared for that matchup, because that matchup is going to be bonkers. And now that we just found out that Overlord set 2 is coming out, I have to be prepared for that. And then lastly, we played for characters Two Terrible Spirit Kurumi. So if you remember from many videos that I've explained this card, it's basically you either get to, with the climax, with this standby, either shuffle 3 back from your opponent's waiting room into the deck, stock swap them, or discard 2, burn 3. This is just a really good finisher, and I am kind of sad that it's only at 2, not at 4 or at 3. And I do hope Bushiro does think about in the near future bringing this back up, because I feel like this card, even though it has 3 different effects, like I feel like the power creep is just more is like this card does feel like power creep is a thing, and this card isn't as good as it used to be, but hopefully we'll have to wait and see. And then lastly, we play 2 copies of the basic realizer. So this event is basically perform the action 3 times, choose one of your characters, and that character gains the following ability until the end of the turn. The character facing from this gets -1 soul, and you put this into memory. So this is your essentially anti-damage event. I am thinking about bumping this to 3, just so I can see it in my hand and have 1 in hand for defensive purposes. And since you're playing 8 standby, you can conserve enough stock in order to save this for defensive protection. So overall, I do like this deck. This is Data Live is my favorite series, both gameplay as well as just since I've read the light novel and watched the series. I love it dearly, and this is just my favorite set. I've been playing this for over a year, and I hope to continue kind of just grinding it now that the new set came out, and I'm feeling a little bit more motivated to kind of revisit this deck, because the ban list really did kind of discourage me from really just like going hard on this deck post ban list. But now I'm kind of just going to be spending maybe another year just playing this deck nonstop, because this is my favorite deck. So overall, I hope you guys like this for version, I guess you could say rebooted version 1 of the deck. I know this video is about almost 30 minutes, but I just wanted to explain my thoughts, my reasoning, and overall I do like this deck. If you guys want the deck log, I will post in this description below or in the pinned comments later. I will be doing an update on this after testing this. I'm gonna run this deck for the next 2-3 weeks and see how it goes, and then I'll come back to you guys with an updated version of this after I do some more testing and crafting. So I hope you guys like this deck profile. Don't forget to rate, comment, and subscribe. False, crack that like button, and peace out and stay on point, guys.